For the basketball purists, John Stockton was the best point guard in NBA history, and their main argument is Stockton's 2 unbeatable NBA records.
That's in NBA history?
Steals. Here's the story of a guy that looked like an accountant and how he trained his mind and body to become like a computer on the court and one of the toughest players ever at 6'1". This is the career retrospective of John Stockton. How good was he actually, and how would he fare in today's NBA? Early life and getting to the NBA. John Stockton has been underrated all his life. He was a small, skinny kid who never should have dominated on the basketball.
We can't take that. Best point guard of all time?
Stop the cap.
Bro, y'all was in my comments of that 1990 recap. Y'all was saying John Stockton better than Zeke. Now look, y'all gonna call me, you too young, Look, I'm going with Zeke. I'm sorry. But we're going to check him out. We're going to see.
And soon became better than guys much bigger and more athletic than him. In addition to basketball, he played baseball and football as a kid and had an opportunity to become a great quarterback. Still, his genius on the basketball court and an average of 23 points per game in the senior year of high school led to several colleges offering him a scholarship. Stockton graduated from Gonzaga Prep in 1980 and opted to stay home in Spokane, Washington and join Gonzaga University. Gonzaga has a famous basketball program now, but for a long time, they were known just for John Stockton. Stockton did not have a...
I ain't know John Stockton against that, and I'm not saying that... They won A1B, to be honest, John Stockton, Isaiah Thomas, but I'm going to choose Isaiah, even though I ain't got to watch Isaiah to me. I got to watch his whole career. But that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments who y'all think is actually better, who y'all think is the number 1 point guard, because I think Magic is the number 1 point guard. But let me know.
Summer throughout his career, and every year, his ritual was the same. During July, he trained for 2 hours a day. In August, it went to 5 hours every day. When his college friends were going out and drinking, he spent his days shooting in the gym. When they asked him why he doesn't relax a little, Stockton replied that he only had a small chance to play in the NBA, and that he wanted to be completely ready if that opportunity arose. John averaged 20.9 points and 7.2 assists as a senior, and became the first player in Gonzaga history to register 1,000 points and 500 assists. Stockton was then drafted in the 1984 NBA draft, arguably the strongest draft in NBA history. Olajuwon was the first pick, Jordan was third, and Barkley went fifth. Stockton was...
That draft was nasty! Oh my God!
Selected 16th overall by the Jazz, and the following year, the Jazz drafted Karl Malone. During their years together, Stockton and Malone would become the deadliest guard-forward pairing in the NBA. NBA career. One big constant. When Stockton first came to Utah after the draft, he immediately asked the Jazz coaching staff to give him all available VHS tapes of Jazz games from last season. He studied their plays all summer, and when the training camp started, John knew every offensive and defensive set, how everybody moved, and where his teammates liked to get the ball. This was 1984, and the habit of watching tape was basically non-existent, but Stockton was different. During my entire rookie season, I expected to be cut, and that's why I came so prepared. There was no relaxation for me. I think I was the player who spent the least money in one season ever. I rented the cheapest possible apartment. I didn't buy anything in it. I didn't even turn on the heating, Stockton recalled jokingly. Stockton came off the bench in his first 3 seasons, averaging 7 points, 7 assists, and just 2 turnovers in 21 minutes per game. He didn't do anything flashy on the court. There were no behind-the-back passes or crazy crossovers. Everything he did was fundamentally sound, and his highlights were often just simple bounce passes with perfect timing. When he became a starter for the 1987-88 season, John immediately led the league in assists with 13.8 and just 3 turnovers.
First of all, I didn't know he came off the bench. And then second of all, his first start, he averaged 13 assists. I just want to know how it was so easy.
Points a game, but he took less than 10 shots, with 57% shooting from the field. From 1988 until 1996, one man led the league in assists each year, and that was Stockton, breaking Bob Cousy's record for leading the league in assists with 9 consecutive years. Out of 10 best marks for most assists in a season, 7 belong to Stockton, and these are just some of his passing records. So the only point guard in the league setting picks on much bigger players, absorbing the blows with his 6'1" body to free up teammates. Charles Barkley once said that Stockton sets the hardest picks in the league, and when Barkley says that, it means something. Yeah, Stockton was dirty, and he took every little chance to trip you, elbow you, and gain some kind of advantage. But because he was always outmatched physically, he almost had to be dirty to succeed. The Jazz made the playoffs 19 years in a row, and both Stockton and Malone don't know what it's like to miss the postseason.
They don't. But, bro, I heard he was kind of dirty a little bit. Like, he was one of them kind of, Yeah, I heard NBA players talking about that.
During their tenure, the Jazz was a top 3 seed in 8 seasons, and their 64 wins in 1997 are still the franchise record. Coach Jerry Sloan wanted perfection, and he coached the Jazz with an army-like mentality, which suited his 2 All-Stars in Karl and John. There was no load management, no playing less than 100%. They played the regular season like it's the playoffs, and John Stockton never allowed his troops to slack off. During those 19 years, John didn't change a single thing. His neatly combed short hair was always the same. He trained rigorously, and he was the only player who kept playing in those ultra-short 80 shorts a decade after everybody switched to longer ones.
Like, why? Why, John? He said, man, I like showing my lower thighs. I like showing my lower thighs. You know?
Stockton became the NBA's all-time assists leader in 1995, surpassing Magic Johnson's 9,921 dimes. When he broke Magic's record, Stockton didn't want the game to stop to be honored. The fans gave him a standing ovation, and he waved his hand briefly so that the game could continue. The following season, Stockton also surpassed Maurice Chase as the all-time record holder in steals. In 1997 and 1998, Utah played the best basketball in the West, won the #1 seed each year, and went to the NBA Finals. When he made the buzzer-beating three-pointer against Barkley and Olajuwon in the 97 playoffs for a series win and a place in their first finals, it was the only time where we have ever seen him lose his cool and show a lot of emotions on the court. And then in the finals, a lack of experience, lack of luck, and Michael Jordan declined the Jazz and Stockton the privilege to win a ring. But those series were much closer than people think. Almost every game was decided in the final minute, and Phil Jackson always said that the 2 finals against Utah were the hardest of the Bulls' 6 titles. From 1998, when he was 35, and 2003, the final year of his career at the age of 40, Stockton still averaged 50% shooting. He still played hard on defense and delivered crisp passes at the perfect place and the perfect time. But he never looked at his stats and was never interested in the personal accolades. All that mattered to him is for his team to win. After his final NBA game, a playoff loss in Sacramento in 2003, Stockton was asked to summarize his feelings about retiring without an NBA title. A lot of this is about the journey, he said. We worked very hard and haven't done it, and yet I feel a lot of reward out of the effort that it took to compete. The uniqueness of John Stockton.
Gonna lie though, bro. I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all, bro.
3 steps ahead. His combination of passing precision, pace control, endurance, and tough.
It be them players that be like, bro, I want to win a title. That's all I want to do. I don't care about stats that don't win it. And then it be the players that be like, bro, I don't even care about winning it. That win it. Like, it's crazy, bro. Like, but bro, that's insane, bro. I want to know how the fuck, who was counting them fucking assist stats? Because, bro, what? That's insane, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, bro. I don't even know how that was even possible.
Were unmatched in the NBA. He was the maestro of the pick and roll when pick and roll was a novelty, and his 1-2 combination with Malone was one of the surest bets in the league for a decade. Stockton was hard as nails, and you could see that in the physicality of his play and how hard he would throw his body on drives, trying to force contact and create separation. Defensively, he was a nightmare for the opposing guards, an annoying pest who didn't mind diving for the ball, making hard fouls, and doing everything in his power to stop you. People are often praising LeBron and Durant for being so dominant and efficient at an advanced age, but these guys are freaks of nature. Stockton shot 51.5% from the floor in his career, weighing 170 pounds. And in retrospect, he should have probably taken a lot more shots himself. If he played in today's
Why did he take more shots?
Era, John could have easily cashed several threes per game, and he was one of the first players to shoot pull-up threes in half court and semi-transition. Out of his physical attributes,
why wasn't he taking more shots though?
Enormous ET-like
hands.
Like,
what's up, bro? What's up with him, Steve Nash? Like, why the hell they don't like taking shots, bro? Steve Nash could have averaged 30. Steve Nash could have averaged 30. He wasn't even taking enough shots, bro.
Helped him control the ball and throw passes with one hand. And the second was a resting heart rate of 35 beats per minute, twice less than the average man of his size. It was part of the reason why he was always composed, and why he could play with the same intensity at the end of the game, and why he'd almost never sweat. Stockton always flew under the radar, similar to Tim Duncan and Moses Malone, one of the most underrated centers ever, but that's how John preferred it. For 19 years in the league, he never had an agent, and he negotiated all of his contracts. Managers, PR, personal assistants, a A 10-person entourage? Forget it. This was not Stockton's style, and he was Kawhi Leonard before Kawhi Leonard.
He was
just
Kawhi
played
Leonard
as
before
hard as he
Kawhi
could.
Leonard.
And after the game, he was
That's
the same
insane.
old John, a nice, respectable guy who gave boring answers to the media, so he could be left alone and go home to his family. When asked about his favorite moment from his stay with the Dream Team in Barcelona, Stockton replied, "One girl on the street asked me to take a picture of her with Charles Barkley. She thought I was some tourist." Legacy. John Stockton is an example
It
that
is
hard
what
work
it
pays
is, bro.
off. This small, skinny white guy missed just 22 games in a
That is
19-year
crazy, bro.
career, 18 of which in one
Small, skinny
season
white guys
due to
be
a
out there
knee
getting
injury, which is
buckets.
also the only serious injury
Killing
of his
the league.
career. He is without a doubt the best pure point guard ever. John is #1 all-time in career assists, and it's not even close, with Jason Kidd in second place, with almost 4,000 assists behind him. The same is in steals, where Stockton is the only man with over 3,000 steals, with 550 more than Kidd at #2. With 10.5 assists per game, he's one of only 2 players to average double-figure assists for their career. He once had 11 assists in one quarter, and that was in a playoff game. Stockton's other assist records include most in a season, 1,164, the highest average for a season, 14.5, and most seasons leading the league in passing. He also shared the record for most assists in a playoff game with 24, and is tied for 3rd for most assists in a regular season game with 28. If he played in the point guard era of today, he could have easily averaged 20 every year because of his phenomenal shooting ability. But all he wanted was to create perfect shots for his teammates. I swear that I never got a bad pass from Stockton. He never threw the ball behind my back.
Bro, man, John Stockton in this era, bro. He averaging 30 assists a game. It'd be nasty work. Y'all talking about Bam scoring 83, John Stockton in 226. It'd be nasty work.
In my legs, in front of me, every pass was right in my hands, and I just needed to shoot. Jeff Hornacek. Stockton's assists were never for the crowd to go wild. They were, above all, purposeful. No one knew how to throw a better bounce pass than Stockton, and the only time he made a flashy move was when it was the only way for his teammate to catch the ball. I often took him for granted because I knew I would get ideal passes from him every game. He always made me better. No one gave him anything. He earned everything himself. Karl Malone. Gary Payton, a Hall of Famer and one of the best defensive players ever, said that Stockton was the hardest player for him to guard, and not Michael Jordan.
Damn. He said that? I ain't gonna lie, boy. It's John Stockton. I ain't gonna lie, I'm keeping it 100. That's why I say I changed what I said, bro. I ain't gonna say Isaiah Thomas is better than him, bro. I'm gonna say 1A, 1B. To be honest, bro, because John Stockton got 2 ships. I know y'all gonna say he had a better team, but he ain't have Karl Malone. And they both ran into Jordan. Different times, but they both ran into Jordan. So it's like, let me know in the comments what y'all think, though, man. I know y'all gonna be on my head. I love y'all anyway, though, bro. But let me know in the comments what y'all think. Let me know y'all want me to react to next. Y'all want me to react to, I might react that Lakers video. Let me know in the comments. I'm gonna see y'all next, man. No cap.